Alright guys, time for another terrible YouTube video. I've got the neighbor's dog yelping in the background. So this is going to be the end of the Danger Ranger here. I just don't have the time or energy to finish it. So we've got a gentleman coming up from Fort Bragg. He's another service member and he's going to take it and probably do way more than I can with it. He's got the time. So we made a little bracket here just to support the van meter over here. We've got two isolators on it. I need to get another isolator for that one. Cheap AutoZone air filter. Just a little 2.5 inch thrush muffler on it right now. Other than that, pretty much straight pipe off the turbo, 2.5 inch. Nothing special. The camshaft seal on the front is leaking pretty bad. So not a huge deal, but something I just don't have time for. And once again, there's just so much left to finish. So it does start and does run. So I'm gonna show you what we've got going on the inside. All these wires are just taped up all the way. They're not doing anything. Two of those are for the EGR AC. We are using the Ron Francis harness and it is currently hooked up to the fan. We're using just a single, I want to say it's a 16 inch. I don't remember what it came out of, but we're using it in place of the Ranger shroud. So the Ranger shroud is here, and then we have the fan secured with 4 screws. Well, they're bolts, small bolts, on the inside, and fit perfectly inside the Ranger shroud. And we have plenty of clearance. You'll see we've got a little over an inch here. It doesn't hit, it doesn't make contact. We are using the factory overflow tank over there for the Ranger. No big deal. And the plan was to eventually route that hose in a little bit different path, but currently, you know, it is what it is. The new owner already has a front mount air cooler on order for it, and it does start and run, but unfortunately it just slings oil everywhere, especially after a few minutes. You know, we still got the PCV and all that still to route. The PCV valve is in place. So, I mean, unfortunately, I'm sad to see her go, but we did run the diagnostic on this and we had 0 codes. When we jump the harness, it kicks on the fan. After the truck runs for about 15 minutes, the fan does kick on. It kicks on for about 30 seconds and shuts off. We just haphazardly here teed in a quick vacuum reference to make sure that we have vacuum here. I think the Ranger Edge interior worked out really well in this truck, by the way. I like it. So that's where we mounted our little vacuum boost gauge. It's got 20 HG of vacuum at idle, somewhere between 18 and 19, upwards of 20 if it's idling at 750 RPMs. We swapped in a cluster. The Riz truck did not have a gauge cluster with a tachometer on it. So we put the tack in it and everything just bolted in, plugged it up, tack worked fine. This is actually a full drive dash that we took out of another Ranger. Same thing with a little center console here. So, but it has like one little crack in it. We replaced it about 4 years ago, and so far that's the only little crack on the dash. These floor mats are also out of a Ranger Edge, or I guess I should say the vinyl flooring. Same thing with all the door covers. We replaced them at one point in time. I like the little center console here. It's kind of nice to have. And the shifter assembly also came out of another Ranger. I don't remember what it was out of. So going underneath, oh, I forgot to show you here. So since we have not finished wiring the body wiring, we have our little mount here, and essentially just push to start. This switch is relayed, and when we flip it, kicks the fuel pump, the ignition, and everything on. The TFI wire is wired into the backside of the push button start. So while you're holding it, the start button in, it will alter the timing to allow the truck to start easier. And because we do not have the body wiring harness completed yet, this is our charging side. The light does not come on because it's an old switch I had laying around, but it does work. And when it's cold, it produces about 14.4 volts out of the 3rd gen 95 amp Ranger alternator. When it's hot, it's about 13.7, 13.8 volts. So At 95 amps, it has more than enough to power this truck. These Thunderbird turbo coupe engines came with something like I want to say it was a 70 or 75 amp alternator, and that was going to be a older 2G alternator. So the 3G alternator at 95 amps has more than enough, especially on a 5-speed truck that's not running a bunch of accessories. Going underneath, now don't knock me on this, but we do have 2 wires just kind of haphazardly ran right here. That's our ground and our power for our fuel pump right now. This is just temporary, just so he can start it and move the truck around. We've got our 8.8 Explorer rear end. It's a big 31 axle spline with the Ranger mounts molded on the top there. Factory springs. That's a 373 LSD rear end with disc brakes. They're a little rusty, but you can see them under our cheap alloy rims. We got those alloy rims for like nothing out of a junkyard. We have our poorly done, but this was done 4 years ago. And besides the fuel door where it was pressure washed, this bit was actually blue. And the truck had been rear-ended and totaled. It literally bent the bumper and broke out this light, and they totaled the truck because of the age. Well, we went to O'Reilly's. We got the blue bed for like nothing. And O'Reilly's will paint match and rattle can form, which is awesome. I think it is kind of expensive. I want to say its color is like $11 a can. I think we put like 8 cans on it. I was able to paint the bed for like 80, 90 bucks. It comes with clear coat in it. It's not great, but this was in 2017, guys. It's September 2021. So, I mean, 4 years, no clear coat on it. I say that's pretty good. So, I really hate to see her go. I mean, she's got a lot of potential, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Unfortunately, I don't have the time for it. So, I'm starting to make these videos. So I have these for reference when I'm old and senile and I can look back. I did not put that on there. My good friend did. And I had the bed bolts out of it so I can move, get to the top of the fuel pump. So I need to secure that down real fast and maybe align the bed a little bit better. You can see it's still loose. But yeah, we'll do another video of it running and stuff, but you get the idea. We'll go ahead and fire it up so you can hear her, and then maybe take her for a quick drive. Say goodbye to her. So obviously right now we don't have a neutral safety switch, so our wires up. There's our start. It's a little bit loud. I'm not sure how the audio quality is. Let's see our vacuum. Hope this helps you guys out. Ron Francis harness was awesome. Once again, we need to just kind of got a lot of this just mocked up for right now. But hey, it is what it is, guys. As always, be safe and all the way.